Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players, uncover their stories, and discover what makes them tick. If you love guitar, music, and the backstory of people's lives, stick around. You're in the right place. Hi, this is Craig. Just want to let you know you can now advertise here on Everyone Loves Guitar podcast. For more information, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber with Everyone Loves Guitar, and I'm with a really great blues player out of Chicago with Guy King. I want to just give a quick shout out to Pierre Jonel. Pierre runs the podcast called The Guitar Channel, and if you have some time, check him out. He's got some good stuff going on there. It's theguitarchannel.biz, and he's out of France, but he has sites in both English and French. So there you go. Anyway, let's talk about Guy King. Guy was born and raised in a small rural town in Israel, actually. First came to the U.S. on tour at the age of 16. 5 years later, he came back to the U.S. For good after a short stay in Memphis and a stint in New Orleans, which you could also hear your New Orleans accent there. He headed north to Chicago in pursuit of greater things in a musical career, and he's definitely achieved that. In Chicago, he quickly gained recognition, and he joined Willie Kent's band, and he served as Willie's lead guitar player and band leader for a period of 6 years until Willie's unfortunate passing in 2006. He then started his own solo career, performing at the city's top venues, such as Buddy Guy's Legends, which he just played at last night, he was telling me, Andy's Jazz Club, House of Blues, the Green Mill, Space, Blues, Roses Lounge, and others, playing at a pace of, listen to this, 250 to 300 shows a year. That is like, this guy's a soldier. He had the pleasure and honor of opening shows for B.B. King, Buddy Guy, and touring the world. He's performed in Japan, France, Belgium, Switzerland, England, Italy, Mexico, Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. Do you ever go back to Israel to play?
I was there 2 years ago. I was invited and brought my band from Chicago to play at the Red Sea Jazz Festival.
Very
But it's
cool.
not often. It was like my second time ever, believe it or not.
Was it weird going back? Well, not weird. How did it feel, I should say?
It was a little strange. It was like a different, it's almost like two different parts of my brain. The one of my childhood, which I was just a guy growing up in the country and picking fruits to try to buy a guitar one day, and just walking with friends in the fields, to all of a sudden coming in as a performer. It was a little bit different, but I'm still the same guy inside. So you just kind of take a cold shower, a hot shower, and, put on a suit or whatever you put on, and it's time to perform, So it was great. I mean, I was moved. I was honored to be invited. It was great to bring my musicians from Chicago to the place that I was born and raised, and it was a great festival.
You probably had a good sense of accomplishment thinking back where you were and where you are now. Not in an egotistical way, but just in a fulfilling way.
I'll be honest with you, since you asked me to tell you always the truth. I really don't as much as I should. People always tell me, man, think about where you come. It doesn't make sense. To me, it's not. I look at where I'm trying to go, not be there where I've been.
You can't do that, bro. I do that. I used to do that, and I finally stopped because I said, you know what? I need more happiness in my life. It's up to me how much that happiness is, and I started. And in the beginning, it was awkward. It was almost like, when you first get into sales, they say, oh, fake it until you make it. It was the same thing with that. I was like, I had to almost not pretend, but kind of pretend like that I'm enjoying stuff. And then after a while, it just sort of like I wanted to just be happier and enjoy things more. And it finally kicked in. Not 100%. Like I still have to ask my wife to kick my ass sometimes, and but
it's just, I had pretty much a vision of stuff even before I picked up a guitar, even when singing as a kid. So I'm my eyes are still there, even after all this time.
I get you, man.
Yeah. If I stop and think, wow, look, I did this. But to me, it's not, I appreciate when people tell me that they like it. I'm not going to sit and well, I'm this and I did this. It's not. No,
but there's a difference between feeling good about where you are and then being an asshole about where you are,
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
You should, because you've done a lot, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. In 2009, Guy released his first solo album, which was called Living It. It was very well received by the public and media, and that opened the doors for two more albums since. The second one was called I Am Who I Am, and It Is What It Is. I love that title. And the other one was By Myself. That's like a very New York thing, you know. It is what it is. Everybody says that. In 2015, Guy was signed by Chicago's Delmark Records to record Truth, which was an amazing record. We'll talk about that today. That was released February 2016. It reached number 1 in the Roots Music Report on Contemporary Blues Chart, number 5 at the Living Blues Chart, which is a pretty major magazine and blues authority. And it's been receiving rave reviews worldwide. As I said, today we'll talk about Truth and some of the songs on it because he does lay down the truth on there. Some of his appearances include the Montreal Jazz Festival, Chicago Blues Festival, the King Biscuit Festival in Helena, Arkansas. Man, do you know... Someone told me that is their they've played that festival 38 years. Let me get a second. Anson Funderburg.
Okay.
Yeah, he told me.
Actually, I never had the pleasure to meet Anson Funderburg.
He's played that festival like 38 years or something. That's his favorite blues festival he's ever played. Really? He told me. Yeah. That's how I knew it. I was familiar with it. He said King Biscuit. Blues on the Fox, the Paramount Theater, Polanco Blues Festival in Mexico City, the Mississippi Delta Festival in, I'm going to mess this up, somewhere in Brazil. I'm not going to butcher that name. They deserve better than that. And the Basel Blues Festival in Switzerland and many more. Guy was nominated for a 2017 Blues Music Award in the Best Emerging Artist Album category. And man, just tell a quick story about how cool you had a good time last night with Buddy at Buddy Guy's Legends.
Oh, yeah. So I came to the club and see my guys, and I'm setting up to perform, and I see Buddy coming in, and he's sitting at the bar just relaxing before the show. And I come to say hello, you know. So we talk about this and that. He told me a few things that, you know, we discuss certain things. I'm a new father to a 17-month-old daughter. So, and
congratulations, man.
Thank you. He always like, so how's the baby doing? Give her a hug for me. So I show him a picture because she's walking now, and he's all happy, man. This reminds me of, I used to tell that to Eric Clapton so it was really fun, you know.
That's cool.
And he loves the little one, and we talk, and he told me that he probably can't stay for the show because he needs to be at the airport early in the morning. They playing in Virginia today. His Buddy Guy has a concert there, and which is pretty amazing if you think at 82 years old to have a string of I think he still plays 200 dates a year.
No, is he playing that actively?
I think so. He's just out for 12 dates now, and they back to back. So, and he does that all the time. So, but after a while, I'm getting into playing the slow blues from my first album that I wrote, Alone in the City, and I'm feeling it. I'm getting down, and the band is getting it, and the crowd is getting it. And they come and say, "Hey, man, Buddy wants to come up and play with you. So can you kick this?" I'm like, "Got it." He comes to my right and jumps and gives you a hug, and you know, he comes up and. So it was great, you know, and he stayed up like 15, 20 minutes singing with me and the band. And, you know, it's always a treat.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. I've seen Buddy I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And it's he's got either split personalities or there's always a different Buddy Guy shows up. There's the one guy who's just Buddy Guy is going to come and kick ass. Then there's Buddy Guy. I think he's got to be buzzed or drunk or something. And he's motherfucker, walking around the stage. You fucking people don't even know me. Name one of my albums. I swear that's what he did at one show. And then there's a Buddy Guy that's in the middle of the two. So, you know, I don't know which Buddy Guy's in the show, but whichever one shows up, you get a great show, you know?
Yeah, he's great. And he has, you know, you talk about paying dues. He been there, done that. And, you know, we all pick how we're going to be on stage, if it's going to be closer to how you're personally or different, you know, or have a stage personality that you're gonna rock, and sometimes people love that. You understand what I'm saying? What
do you do? Do you have, like you said, do you pick a stage personality, or are you yourself, or half and half?
You know, I don't think you do it conscious. I have to be honest. I think some can. Maybe if you have consultants and you're a pop star, they can hey, do this. I'm serious about that. You know, I think I'm myself, but I'm channeling a certain a certain character and taking that, you know, maybe I shouldn't say stronger, you know, we are more complex. I am, and I know you are, and everybody else who's listening, than just, hey, this is who I am. Yeah, but late at night when everybody goes to sleep, other stuff goes through our mind. Or when we wake up with the coffee, you think about other things. So I try to let all these things come through. And on stage, sometimes I'm more vulnerable. Sometimes I'm really powerful. And I try to let it go all the way to the end,
That's great.
So I don't know if I have one thing that I am. Probably a little bit stronger because, kind of the camera, black and white, is always going to look better on stage.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with the note. If I try to do the little nuances, sometimes they're not going to go through live in front of 5,000 people. So you have to pick the one that really get in. Or if I'm playing it soft, really get the soft touch. It's the same thing with personality, I think.
Because I think when you're performing or in any kind of interaction, especially where you're performing and opening up, I think the truth is he who has the most energy wins. So if you're going to come on strong, that's the time to do it because you want to win in the sense of, the energy transfer is positive from you to them. And that's what makes a good show,
Yeah. I think the truth is at the end, even though nowadays things are kind of, sorry if it's not, a lot of them are, in my eyes, are a little fake and bougie and not really,
It is what it is, man.
And they become successful. To me, that's not why I started doing it, and I still believe that you could do something great and make it successful and real and true. So I'm trying to get the energy from that. That's what's still motivating me. Even after, after the time and after paying dues and after playing places and touring, I still try to channel the most real and strong place inside me and in the music that I hear and feel. And this is where I draw the energy to either come in strong or just be really sensitive at times and getting that side out too.
That's great, man. You came over to the States first when you were 16. How did this come about and who were you touring with at that time? Like what brought you
It's not
here?
a major act. It was almost like a school group that would selected 5 female singers and 5 male singers from the whole country of Israel to like a scout organization. And they had a delegation to show Israel music and guide about Israel and stuff throughout the United States and Canada. And I was one of the 5 boys selected to sing. I was more a singer. I played guitar, but only there was like a playback. So it was a produced show of singing and dancing, like really singing, like not blues. Maybe there was some influences of soul, but so this was it. I'm mostly a singer. Sometimes I would like pick up a classical nylon string guitar and back up the group while we sang too, but mostly it was really singing. But to me, it gave me an opportunity first to represent Israel at this young age. And between us, I was already into blues and soul and rhythm and blues. So it was like an opportunity to come to the States and be at places like Memphis, Tennessee, and Alabama, and Chicago, and Texas, and Dallas. And I'm like, wait, T-Bone Walker from Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was a young teenager. So these were, places that Oklahoma, places I know Clapton played, and go to B.B. King's Club in Memphis. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was a young 16-year-old boy. You need to understand that I grew up in a place of a village of 68 families.
Oh my God, really rural. So you're like a country bumpkin.
Yeah.
Wow.
There were like 5 little villages. Each one had like 70 families in it. And they were all like together and everybody knew everybody and beautiful fields and agriculture and orchards. And I picked fruits. That's what I did as a kid and collected eggs and worked at chicken shacks. And actually that's how I was able to buy my first guitar when I was 13 or 14.
That's awesome, man. That's a really smart. Do you know Oz Noy?
Yeah.
Did you know him back home?
We talk sometimes. Funny thing, we met in Israel maybe 3 years ago when we both were visiting. We had coffee, and since then we've been keeping in touch.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's
Oz is great. He's a wonderful guitarist.
Yeah, really good player. Really good player. So when you came here, like, did you know at that point, hey, I want to get back here. This is where I want to be? Or like what brought you back 5 years later?
Yeah, I almost stay. I almost like forget high school, forget the army. I'm staying. And then my parents passed away. God bless them. So,
oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I was younger when it happened. So they were wonderful, and in every way they encouraged me to play. But he was like, man, brother served in the army. They protected you. People who lived here. You grew up here, and he was right. So I completed high school, and I completed my army service, and then I packed up a guitar, a suitcase, and I traveled to Memphis.
Just like that?
Just like 12 days after the army.
Holy crap. That's a lot of balls, man.
when he feel something, then you go for it. To me, it wasn't. That's the thing. To me, it was like natural. People thought I was crazy. To me, it was like, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not even trying to. I just want to. That's what I feel. That's what and that's what I did.
So, okay. So why'd you pick? You traveled around, but why'd you settle on Chicago? What about the town?
Totally accident. I wanted to be in Memphis, follow the footsteps of B.B. King and Albert King, which were huge influences on me. And I did so. I came to Memphis. You need to understand, I was after like growing up in a very small place, then being in school, and then coming here at 16 really opened my eyes and saw big cities and stuff that I didn't even know existed other than watching movies, and or reading stuff about biographies about musicians that I looked up to, trying to learn from, because I was self-taught for the most part. And so I came here and I wanted to come back. So I came to Memphis. I was here when I was 16 on part of the tour in Memphis and also in Chicago. We played a few Black Baptist churches, which was cool because I enjoyed that the music, that sound was already,
the gospel there. They're pretty passionate.
I got a chance to see it and feel it firsthand, and I was digging it and added that to my list of influences too, because, And then Memphis was a little small for me then. Maybe if I would have done it again, maybe I would have stayed longer. It would have been a faster climb. But then again, I got out of the army of 3 years from a small village. I wanted more. I wanted to see more. So I actually learned a lot there in a short stay. I walked a lot. I didn't have a vehicle and I didn't have a lot of money to travel. So I just took the guitar and walked all day from place to place and sat by the river and played and taught myself different things. And then I wanted something bigger. So I took a bus down through Mississippi to New Orleans with that suitcase and the guitar. And I got a chance to see Pants. I remember with the bus, it got stuck or something at night, and we were in Baton Rouge, and I had sat in the bus station like this for like from 3 a.m. to 5, just like by myself on a bench. Okay, this is I guess that's what I asked for, so that's what I'm doing, And then we had the pleasure all of a sudden I wake up and I see a bus stop and we're in Hazelhurst. And I'm like, Hazelhurst? And I remember reading the liner notes on the Robert Johnson, the complete recording, and that's where it was born. And I couldn't believe it.
Oh.
To me, and I was all alone and I'm like, this is like, wow, I did not know.
You spoke English though, I'm assuming fluently.
Yeah, I spoke. Yeah. I've been speaking English since I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I heard that young. So it was, I was shy. I didn't speak much at all unless I really had to ask something. I was more observant and sponging it all in, So got to New Orleans. It was kind of wild in New Orleans, as some people know, and a lot of temptations. And then I decided that young guy, and I enjoyed drinking every now and then too, which I figured that I decided not to stay too long there. So again, I observed, I saw from a distance. I thought it was the wrong time of my life to hang. And I got tired of being by myself, like a hobo with a guitar and a suitcase. And family member knew some people here that kind of gave me a place to stay in the start. They said, I almost took care of their kids for a while to kind of have a place to stay. And I said, okay, I guess I'll go to Chicago. I was not very much aware. I knew about Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, but I was with the B.B. King, Albert King, T-Bone Walker, some that type of stuff. That was the thing that drew me in more, So, but then I came here and I had to learn of the local influences too, and learn them and back up add more styles and more vocabulary to myself. And all of a sudden, somebody saw me play in a week and a half after I got here on a train. I came up here on a train, by the way, from New Orleans. I took an Amtrak train.
That's amazing.
I think hit a car somewhere in the night. So it took like, I don't know how many hours to finally get here. Nothing happened. It was like something was on the track. And I got here, somebody on the train, again, sorry to say that I used to smoke cigarettes. I stopped 5.5 years ago. I do not touch it. But there was a smoking car. And I went to have a cigarette on the train. And the guy tells me, you should go to Buddy Guy's Legends, which was the old club, and to Rose's Lounge. They have a jam on these days. And I'm like, really? Oh, because I didn't know. Again.
How are you going to know? Yeah.
Small village that I couldn't barely see live music live. It did not exist, You
That's
understand?
I cannot believe 68 families. That's like 250 people or 300 people maybe.
Yeah. So, but there were like 5 of these together, so we all kind of knew each other. And
But still, that's like 1,500 or 2,000. It's a tiny little community, man.
So I came and I went to the jam, and they're like, "Wow, they liked me." And 2 weeks later, they were like, "We want you to play." They hired me. I'm like, whoa. That's why I stayed in Chicago, my friend. I did not plan. I just got tired of being a hobo. I had a place to lay my head, and beautiful family here. Not my own family, but they kind of took me in. And so I'm like, that's cool. It's, you get tired of just being alone. So that's what happened. I picked up a gig and picked up again, and people liked what I did. And Willie Kent saw me play and called me and said, "Man, I think I'll have a spot for you soon. I want to record and I want to use you." And I think they talk, "We got a gig for you." I'm like, "Okay, you have an amp?" I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't have an amp. I went the next day and got some money and got an amp and an old car that died on me 3 times a night.
Oh my God.
And you have to start somewhere. I believed in myself. I just saw a night before I left Memphis at a place called Wild Bill's. They heard me play, and it was actually Albert King's bass playing. "Man, you great." And they offered me a gig every Saturday night. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, they heard me. I even know what I sang. It was I said, "The rocks is my pillow, cold ground is my bed," an old Albert King tune. And I just laid it down. They're like, "Man, we want you every Saturday night." I'm like, "Cool, but I have a bus ticket to New Orleans tomorrow morning." And I left. I'm like,
wow.
But it gave me certain confidence. I'm like, whoa, so I thought I was good. I thought I could be the best, but I thought I was good. But you don't know, again, I'm a shy guy from a small country town. So it helped me to get some confidence to see, wow, people enjoyed what I did. So it's not just in my eyes, people can relate to. And I remember thinking that, I'm like, and it gives you some air, because again, I'm by myself with a guitar and a suitcase. Sometimes you need a little.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
"Hey son, you sound good." Willie Kent was there for me. He said, "Son, you sound good. Just keep playing, keep coming to see me play." And one thing leads to another, and you keep practicing. The fact that I tell you I thought I was good, I didn't think I was the stuff. I thought that I'm going to be the best, but I knew that I have to nourish it. And I could tell by listening, if I'm listening to Albert King, I'm like, wow, this is great. This is the level I inspired to. Maybe not imitating, but aspired to quality. Then I listened to Wes Montgomery and said, I have to get that because it's fluent, it's natural. I believe that I have, So by thinking, I'm talking to people who like guitar.
Yeah.
Talking to you, it's like when you think you have something, first be honest with yourself. If you don't think that that, then reach high and don't even think. But if you think you have something, you have to nourish it. You have to do listening. You have to practice. You have to get that idea to flow through you, and it takes time.
You know what? I'm very impressed at your maturity and coping skills at that age to make decisions of, okay, I need to leave here because I'm not going to thrive here, for example, in New Orleans. And I've met a lot of people from Israel over the years. And I think because you guys got to serve in the army and are forced into those situations, I have not met anybody there that's not like that. Is super mature, very able at a young age to sort of step back and make decisions. And that's pretty impressive.
You grew up a little faster there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not too much of a La La Land environment. I mean, it's beautiful there. You have a beautiful childhood in the country. Again, I worked at a very young age, but you play in the fields and you run around. You do things that I wish people here get.
Sure.
Maybe in the country, people more.
They do.
Remote places. But so it's beautiful. It's a beautiful landscape, but the area is in war a lot. So you deal with situations, and sometimes friends or acquaintances die and not comfortable.
Sure.
It leads you to the news. Everything is so stressed all the time. It's a hot climate place. I don't know, man. That being said, I know people that are not mature there too. I mean, maybe they don't. I know it's not. You shouldn't. There are funky people there. There are funky people here. There are funky people everywhere, and there are not funky people everywhere. It just, I don't know.
That was very impressive.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I would have thrived there too. It's just I felt like it's too much going on. I have to like clear my head a little bit. So I was listening a lot to music, and it was a period of time that a lot of stuff soaked in, you know. Again, in Israel, I could not get my hands on CDs. It took me, I had to take 2 buses and like take a bus, walk across the field as a young teenager, get to a bus stop, take one bus of an hour, another inside Tel Aviv bus of another 30 minutes to get to a record store, which would tell me, I said, do you have some by Albert King? Maybe a collection I wanted. No, but we'll order for you. And 30 days later, they got it. And 30 days later, I had to make the trip back.
Oh, my God.
And then I got it. So to me, it was like a Bible. I cherished this, and it meant so much that these things really got through me. So if you're asking me, I appreciated those things so much that...
You had a lot of skin in the game just to get a CD.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was, man. Yeah.
So, you know, so those things get a different, you know, music is not just about the note you play or the note you sing. It's what stands behind what you do.
I'm just really impressed at you. I mean, I had a very difficult upbringing and I had some street smarts, but I didn't have the ability to step back like you did to look around and make decisions of what's in my best interest, sort of. So I was to me, that's super impressive, man.
Well, sometimes it's survival. You understand? If I'm by myself and I'm away from family and friends, I'm all alone. I mean, look, I got crowded in the corner once and tried to being robbed by 3 people. You know, and like people stuck me up and I'm like, no, it's not happening. So these situations, you're trying to stay away from them, you know?
Sure. That's awesome, man. You work with Willie. You said Willie was really complimentary of you. I know you worked with him for 6 years as his guitarist and his band leader. What were the most important lessons or takeaways that you learned from that experience?
I would say that it's just being there. You understand? What do you mean? It's doing it on a regular basis. When I said I used to do it 250, 300 dates a year, you play 5 to 7 nights a week, sometimes 2 shows a day. It's just being there with somebody who's experienced, seeing his demeanor, seeing that, and again, the band, everybody, and him included, were over 60 years old. I was 22.
So you were the baby. That's great. Can I tell you something? People often ask me, what are the most common characteristics of the most successful and most talented guitar players? That's actually one of them. Most of them have played with people much older than themselves, and they've always gone out of their way to do that because it obviously you learn more. But that's really interesting. That's a very common thing.
I was drawn to it. I remember the first time hearing him sing, I was like, what is this? Somebody took me. They asked me, you know Willie Kent. There were 2 reporters from France. They actually they saw me play at a little place with Aaron Burton and Lil Max Simmons. So I was able to, all of a sudden I walk in Chicago, I meet Otis Rush at a pool hall, and him and I are shooting pool.
Holy shit.
And they like me and they order pizza, and I'm like, is this real?
Is this really happening? Yeah, sure.
Then Aaron Burton, he passed away, was a bass player actually on the Albert Collins Ice Picking album. He heard me right away and hires me on the spot, and I'm like, that's good. So they wrote about me in a magazine in Paris called Soul Bag, which is so funny. Now, years later, they reviewed my album and gave it like their best debut, the 5-star thing.
That's great, man.
But then they were one of the first publications to write about me. They wrote, I was 21 then, and they wrote, we came here to write about all the Chicago stars, and in a little club on Lincoln Avenue, we found this young kid who's just playing circles here, and we didn't know who he was, and he's even from Israel. And they wrote that. I think
that's so cool.
So they took me. So you heard of Willie Kent? I said I did, but I never had the chance to. They'd come on Saturday night. They brought me to a club in the city, and he was singing. The club was packed. It was jumping, and he was singing. I remember this voice just wow, like a holler. I'm like, wow. So that drew me right away. There was a power,
the energy,
but a clean power, not like somebody like I don't have nothing against rock, but trying to overdo with the rust. The voice was clear and cutting, and like a young Muddy Waters, a young B.B. King, and he wasn't young, but his voice stayed that powerful and clear, and I loved it. It was real to me. And then he saw me play and asked me to come sit in with him when I was off, when I was not working, and I did all the time, and I was nervous. And like the 5th time, I'm like, I keep telling myself I'm messing up. Every time he calls me, I'm like, blank, what's going on? And the fifth time, it clicked. And he looked at the drummer, and they were like, they did that, I remember. And then I got the call. You know?
That's so cool, man. Once he passed, did you know right away? Because like that had to be kind of like intimidating, because this is your gig in a good way. Not only are you a guitar player.
Before that, you asked me lessons. Willie was intense every night. And I dig that. And I feel that. And I feel that if you're going to do something, do it well. Shake that tiredness. When he sang, he was on all the time. I could tell maybe when he was a little tired, but the feeling was always there. You
seem pretty intense, and you seem like that, and I mean that in a good way. I'm like that. It's like, man.
So I love to see that.
Okay.
Even if the music was simpler than some of the stuff I do, you can take that intensity and put it in every vein of music. Just like. And I was digging that, and I saw that. Also, being on the road, traveling, seeing things, you see a lot of. He told me that, guy, you can see what to do and what not to do. I definitely learned things of what not to do. That situation from the band members, from him too. So I lived it as a guitarist, and he made me band leader. He had me pay the guys after and look at things with time. But at first, look, he's singing. I would open up shows. He had me open up with 3 songs or 2 songs, even on larger venues. So he prompted me. He knew that that's what I'm going to do. There was no question there,
Okay.
And I would get calls then after a year in the band. People here in Chicago would be like, man, play, how come you don't do your own thing? You this, you that. I said, thank you, I appreciate it. There was a time to...
You just knew the time wasn't right. Yeah.
So, again, I was wrong, I was right. I could have sped my process. At the end, you get the meaning behind the note, which nothing's going to teach you that. Nothing other than this will teach you that.
So when he passed, that was your time. You knew, okay, now it's. I'm gonna. There was no question of you're gonna step out. Oh, there was.
No, I saw them. You asked me if I would, if I wanted to play side for other people. Some people called, and there was not even a thought of me to say yes. Yeah. No disrespect to anybody.
Sure.
The truth is that the band was called Willie Kent and the Gents, and the venues wanted to keep the band because Willie in the last year was sick. He wasn't that well. He had cancer and he could not make all the shows. So I was fronting the band. We hired a bass player.
Oh,
a good bass player that Willie Kent loved. He's a good friend too, Patrick McKeever. He played, and he actually is a great amp technician. Now he does that. And so he used to work on my amp, and Willie liked the way he played bass. We brought him in. I would lead the shows on weekends, and when Willie felt well enough, he would come and do like 3 songs. And we would him up like this. So I got more confident, and my voice got even stronger, and my showmanship then, because I took the time to, when you play guitar and you're not leading the band from up front, even though I was leading the band, the music, it's not like you way up front. I always stood a foot behind Willie Kent. Again, it's a respect thing.
Of course, yeah.
Take a step behind, you see what's going on. We try to support him the best way, leading the band, make sure everything is cool for him. My job, he wanted me to play the leads, the responses to his voice, So he would sing a line, I would play something to push him to sing the next line. So I had a lot of time to see what's going on with the audience, see actually the show, what works, And I'm not talking, he doesn't have to do splits in the air and like a pop star. He could get him with it's a different style of music. So I learned a lot, and then when he passed, they asked me to lead the Gents, and the venues would hire us, and I couldn't do it. I said no, politely. It was too weird. I felt like I would do it, and then I would wait for him to come, and he passed. We just buried him. It was too weird, and my vision of music was different. It wasn't his. I didn't want to be in this group. I heard, for what you heard me, I heard a horn section.
Yeah.
I heard girls behind me giving me oohs at I heard different arrangements. And it was time to do that, but I didn't feel like playing. So I actually took time off, and I got a day gig.
Did you really? What were you doing?
Yeah. Maintenance. Just something to pay bills. And during that time, is to get up at 5 a.m. to try to get to the place. And even when I played for him the last year, I would work. So I finished the gig at 2, go to bed at 2, 3, 5:30 I was up.
Holy shit.
I've been an hour to the gig, or 6. I'm up making sandwiches and driving to the gig. But musicians and young guitarists. During that time, I made myself compilation CDs of Wes Montgomery, of Charlie Parker, of Errol Garner, things that moved me. And I did not have a chance to play them because they will be too out of whack if I played this behind Willie Kent, which was a more raw, with Delta-influenced blues style. But it was in me, on Ray Charles. So I would listen to it, just like I would Bossa Nova of João Gilberto and Tom Jobim. And I would listen to it, and it became part of me. So during that time, it was actually very important to me to get more music in. And after Willie passed, I didn't feel like playing.
How long did you take off for?
I was off, I think, 6 months. I did not perform.
And you were comfortable with it. It was a
feeling great.
Yeah, good.
I would play at home better probably than I ever did out to my. You know why better? Because it was more what I was actually hearing in my head.
So that was almost like a transition period for you to decide, I got to get my shit organized mentally to figure out, I know what I want. I want to clarify my vision. I can't do it getting on stage day one. I need to put this together.
No, it was more like I didn't feel like playing. I just didn't feel like playing. He passed away. I would see him every night for 6 years. I didn't feel like being on stage and waiting for him to come through the door, and he will never come.
Gotcha. So it was part of a grieving process in a sense too.
Yeah. Didn't want to play.
Totally get that.
My parents passed away, both of them from cancer, like 2 years before that.
Oh my God.
So I was young in my
sorry, man.
I didn't want that. I wanted some sanity for myself, But I played behind closed doors, and people, can you do this gig? I'm like, no, thank you. I'm like, what's wrong with it? I would work a day. So I still took care of my bills. I didn't ask for anybody, And I would play in the evenings, and I would practice things that I really never did before. And I would hear things, and I'm like, hey, I like this. I feel this. And I would get that and keep listening. And then the itch started. I'm like, I need to play.
How long? 6 months, you said. Yeah.
About 6 months. And I called, and Buddy Guys Legends was the first place to give me a gig because they remembered me. They were like, of course, man, we'll give you a. And they did, and another place did. And I remember it was a whole month. I had 2 places. All the places that told me in the past, man, we'll get you. They all flaked.
Yeah.
In the music business, my friends.
Any business, it's just people, man. Here today, gone tomorrow.
Actually proved, and the show was great. And the next month, I had 3 days, and 6 months later, I had 25 days a month.
Nice.
And that's how, and I took a solo gig. Even they told me, hey, man, we need somebody to open for Buddy Guy. I'm like, of course. But would you do solo? Would you play solo? I'm like, of course I do. I never played a solo show. So say yes to every opportunity, man. Yeah, but not like a fool.
Of course.
So that you need to prepare. So all this time, I may not have prepared for that show, but I prepared.
It's not like you didn't have the chops, man.
It's
just a matter of applying it differently.
I was a young guy, King. I had the thing. I took it. I took the week before 2 weeks and really prepared and came and smoked it. And people loved it. And that gave me 10 more dates. And that's how things roll in a natural way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not know a lot of people to help me. So I had to prove that I'm as good or better than others to get the opportunity.
Sure.
And I thought it was fair. I'm like, if I'm going to be better than somebody, they're going to get me.
Yeah,
so I tried to be the best that I could be for me too,
Well, I think that's a very realistic story. I think oftentimes people think that, it's not happening quick enough, but it never does. But that's pretty real. You had 2 dates the first month, 3 dates the second.
Sometimes it does.
But it's rare. That's not the norm.
No, sometimes I think, for what we're talking about, look at Pop World. In Pop World, it does more, in the real pop world, because most of the stars, the real known people, are so young that they couldn't have paid dues for that long.
Sure.
And that type of music is not really organically club music. It's not people go to see that. So they make a product and they sell that product and make a hit with it. So it's a different type of environment, but it could be done. I mean, look, Stevie Wonder made it famous when he was 12. Michael Jackson when he was 9. They didn't really go through the process. So I don't know. I think we all choose, but we all have something already planned for us as far as where it's going to go and what we're going to do.
No, I agree with you. But also here you are, how many years later, still doing it in the pop world. That's where you do have it's more manufactured. It's like any other product. You have a timeline that's generally much shorter.
Yeah, but I mean, the music that I play, we'll get to it, but it's not like your straight blues. It's not your straight jazz.
No.
And it has a lot of soul elements of rhythm and blues. And my vision is really get it in a. When I say pop, that's another thing. We're going to clear that. It's not pop like I'm not pretending to be Beyonce or Justin Timberlake or somebody. I may even like some of the songs. Pop to me is popular. Is get it to more people.
Yeah,
I think more people can enjoy what I do because I think it lays on a wider ground of influences.
100%.
That's inside me. So when I say pop, don't look at it the wrong. If there are people within the rock genre or the blues genre, the jazz, don't look at it the wrong way. Pop is, jazz used to be popular music here in the 1920s. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
The Duke Ellington Band was a household name, or Benny Goodman Band.
Very true.
So it doesn't mean that it was bad. It means that it was popular, which good music belongs in the popular ears. That's how I see it.
Totally.
You understand?
Totally, man.
So that time, that's what happened. Willie passed. I took time. I prepped. I really was digging certain things. I got into Ray Charles so deeply. Well, Willie Kent. I heard him as a kid, but he became a huge influence on my playing. My voicing of chords became a voicing of a pianist that I heard Errol Garner and Oscar Peterson and Ray Charles and Jimmy McGriff, the organ player. Those are my main. If you hear my voicing, because guitarists ask me, this is where I learned a lot of chords. Other than the Robert Johnson, Latin Hopkins, the regular guitar stuff that all guitarists should go through.
Sure.
This was my school. There was still is a wonderful organ player in the city of Chicago, Chris Foreman, like family. And he told me, he said, man, you're a little different than your typical guy. He said, go listen to Teach Me Tonight. It's a Dinah Washington song. I think you'll dig it. I dug it. But the changes were like, what's going on? So I taught myself that. It opened a can of worms. I heard a Ray Charles tune. I came to play it. What's going on? So from a kid, I played clarinet in an orchestra when I was 8 already. So I heard things. I sang more pop. If it's Marvin Gaye, if it's popular music from Israel, if it's Eric Clapton, I sang these things before I got into straight blues. When I got into straight blues, like all purists, I kind of lost some of that. There's some wonderful music,
Sure.
A lot of purists lose sense. They think, oh, this is it or it's nothing. It's not true. So afterwards, all those elements started coming together and becoming Guy King.
Well, I think it's important you did what was organically natural. You did what you felt, and that's why it works. You didn't say, hey, I need to do this because I want to get it to more popular people. You said, hey, I like this sound, and lucky for me, I think it will apply to more people as opposed to being tight niche blues, and then you put it together.
Yeah. Look, I have to tell you, Wes Montgomery is one of my main influences.
Your playing is. Let's talk about your record, man, because I want to talk about your playing music. It's great. First of all, congratulations on the success of the latest album. It is a fantastic record, and honestly, man, like I said before the call started, I am amazed how many moving parts are going on there and everything that you got to manage. So, bunch of questions. For starters, 15 songs. I was like, what is this guy, a masochist?
Honestly, I'm going to bet you said honesty. It was a mistake. It was too long.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
A lot of work.
It was, I think it should have been 2 albums.
Yeah.
Because we shelved 2 songs that we never made it because it was too long.
Oh, 17 songs. Yeah. You would. Most people aren't even releasing albums today. They're releasing EPs with 6 songs.
I think it should have been 2.
Yeah.
And it's 2 separate releases, but that, it's been a while since I recorded. Maybe since it's been like 2.5 years since I did not record After Truth, maybe that was the reason. It was a lot of stuff coming out. But I think it should have been a little shorter, but I guess I was hungry, and the people at the label wanted that. And I'm like, okay,
Great record, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so questions. You got a full band here. You got a B3, you got woodwinds, you got brass. And I was curious, a couple of things. How did you come up with that setup? And also, besides the extra financial requirements to support such a large group, what other responsibilities, day-to-day basis are involved with a band that's that big from a leadership standpoint?
Okay. First, even my first album, Living It, that I recorded in 2008, released in 2009, it had a horn section and background vocalists.
Oh my God! Wow.
So that was my vision, even if a very young guy came.
Okay.
That's what I heard in my head. Sorry for the little background noise.
No, that's cool, man.
So that was my vision.
Only in big cities we get that. Like is that the garbage truck backing up?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the same in New York.
Either garbage or recycling.
Yeah.
So this, so that was my vision, my sound. If I write a song and certain songs, I came up with a line that was influenced by a horn line. So I'm going to have to get the horn section. So even then, as a young guy, after Willie came, shortly after, I already put a horn section in my band, a 3-piece horn section at a time of Barry, tenor, and trumpet. Then after touring in Brazil, I kind of lowered it to not lowered it. I saw that a 2-piece horn section is faster. It's easier on the budget since he's asking.
Yeah, of course.
So with tenor trumpet, I mean, a lot of stuff could be done. And the ideas that I have, I can rearrange them. My guitar, I could use that as to double up a horn part while one of them is doing something. And the keyboards, either organ or Fender Rhodes. So I started thinking like, okay, this is practical. I can actually get a minivan and trailing 6 people. It's not 7. It's easier,
Sure.
Way easier for the van for travel.
And tenor trumpet is totally perfect, man.
I know.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. This is the vision. On the album, I could add a couple of pieces. I do some larger shows, and I expand the band to a 12-piece band.
My God.
Live band. Which then the horn section, I add 2 horns, and I have 2 trumpets, tenor and Barry. And that's the full sound.
Wow. That's...
And a 3-piece female vocal section to my right, 3 girls, 3 voices. Fender Rhodes to my right, Hammond organ to my left.
You have 2 organs.
Organ and an electric piano.
Holy crap.
If I really go out. But on an album you don't need that. You don't need to do it all live. I could record the rhythm section, like what I did. We recorded the rhythm section and then I had all the charts already ready and the horns come in and later, an album is a different thing than a live performance.
So from a leadership standpoint, what other responsibilities are incurred when you have this big band?
Well, a lot. First of all, I'm not performing in this big band all the time. The regular working unit, I would say, is a 6-piece, including myself, which will be drums, bass, keyboards, tenor, trumpet, myself on vocals and guitar. Mm-hmm. This is the regular working unit. As I told you, it expands to a 12-piece or 11-piece and a very large concert, which has the budget and asks me for that.
Sure.
But my regular working unit, if without the horns, is the same musicians, which would be the same keyboard player, the same bass player, and the same drummer, and myself, and you just remove the horns. So I had different configurations because of budget issues, and the truth, I was supporting myself, so I had to make it work.
Of course.
So I would play solo shows. I had an organ trio that I would play a lot of jazz standards at the time and that type of material. And then I had the band. What comes with it? A lot of responsibility. You have to coordinate people and people's schedule. And you have to
scheduling's got to be a nightmare.
People that you love. And sadly, not sadly, sometimes you can't get the regular members because a show came in and they were already booked. They teaching or they have a private engagement or they took another gig because, so you have to have spare parts, especially if the working musicians in my rhythm section work more because I do more projects with them, then I have to have some great subs to come and fill in. So you have to have charts for the material and more people than actually playing your band to be aware of your material, to step in and do something like this when needed. And coordination, you have to be reliable. You have to be dependable. There's people I love, musicians I love that I wouldn't say dependent on me, but they need me. I can't slack. If I give them a date, if I give them a budget, this is what it is,
Sure. It's a lot of work, man. Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned this earlier, and my question was, I'm kind of reluctant to call you a blues band because you're much more than a standard blues band, obviously. And to, as you said, that sounds limiting compared to what you're doing. So you're more of a full band that plays blues, swing, jazz, and anything else that comes under that umbrella. Plus, the band is very tight. Have these guys been with you for a while? I mean, I was shocked how it was. You got a lot of people, and it was like a freaking Swiss watch, man. You guys are like, nice. Was it the same guys for a while, or?
Yes, actually, I came back from Brazil. Well, I came back from Brazil and put that band together by phone from a tour overseas. I decided, because I was out on the road traveling for 2 years by myself. I went to California, try out things. I was in South America, playing in Brazil a lot. And I had the thing with Delmark and the producer Dick Sherman. They were like, "We want to do the record." I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming in." I called the drummer that I liked. We got the bass player that I liked. We got the piano player. I booked a series of shows. And 3 months after we got together was the recording of this album.
But you must have played a lot during that time, though, man, because it's that you guys are very cohesive, man.
Thank you. Yeah. No, we rehearse it. I don't leave stuff. I leave stuff for improvisation, to happen on the moment. But it's planned. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course.
There's no magic tricks here.
Yeah.
The band's will sound great at the rehearsal room. So when I come to the studio, everybody knows this part. He can play it freely, and then magic happens.
Yeah.
That's my approach anyway. And then we can even think about a song on the spot because I'm free. I don't have to think about, and the drummer doesn't have to think about it. And the trumpet player has been with me a long time, and the sax player. They were actually parts of my band for years.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it, man, honestly.
And
your voice, I think I mentioned this earlier, your voice is great, man. It's really sweet. And you have a pretty broad range. You have a deep speaking voice, but I was really surprised how broad and again, clear. You mentioned Willie Kent. It was very clear, very clean. And so my question was, were you always a good singer? And does being that good of a singer present challenges for you in terms of also, being able to showcase your guitar playing as well? It's hard to sing and play like that at the same time.
I think, first of all, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Second, I think I was a very good singer before I played. I think I actually sang better even. Because that's all I did. I sang as a kid, So I think I did it well. a little kid. But I think when I got into the guitar, our guitarists, especially more than even other instrumentalists, you kind of lose yourself in your guitar and you want to be like the best and you want to play. And I think I forgot my voice for a while. I would always sing because I led a band as a teenager as a singer guitarist, but I paid more attention to the guitar.
Of course.
It was a mistake. There's not even a matter of taste here, Craig. It's a mistake. The voice will always, it's more natural. You understand? I could just sing in the morning. I don't have to grab a guitar that somebody had to make. It's this natural, It's the most natural music thing ever, So it was a mistake. And I think in recent years, maybe when I was in Brazil and South America, I realized it more. Maybe when I had a chance to sit with a nylon string guitar again and just play and not be behind anything, I realized how sweet it is, how natural it is, and then I need to maybe go back to my roots and grow and improve that section of my musical as well and give it the attention and the love it deserves. I think I was faulted at times by guitarists that really loved the way I played. They tell me, man, you should play more. How come you're not playing a longer solo? You always give your keyboard player a solo and not tear it. I did not hear it. Again, in recent years, a few years ago, I did larger tours and I started doing that more. I realized that people wanted to hear me play more.
Yeah. So well, you do a great job I thought you do a really good job of balancing on the record.
Thank you. So I started using my band more to support me. They're great musicians, but they're there to kind of give me the stage that I need to execute my vision,
I guess it's part of your evolution as a band leader as things are changing, that things that, come to mind, you want to bring out more and do different things, which sounds really cool.
Yeah, I think it's kind of natural. Is it challenging to balance between the guitar and the voice? I'll give you an example. I gave you a lot of influences. I picked up the guitar because of Eric Clapton.
Okay.
That's the truth. Later on, of course, I put everything aside to go after Albert King and B.B. King and even a little T-Bone and other people and then West Montgomery. But I picked
Clapton
up
was the trigger.
Clapton. And then there was a short period where I was only into Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm talking to young teenagers.
Yeah.
Then I heard one song, Blues Power, and I put everything by Albert King.
Albert King, great.
I said, excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No disrespect. So, but let's so Clapton. I do think he's great, not just as a guitarist, as a musician, as the package. Songs that and I just realized it. Songs that were such big hits and people recognize them and enjoy them tremendously. Forget the guitar for a minute. Does Cocaine have a solo even in it until the vamp at the end? No. Does Layla have a smoking Eric Clapton solo? No. Does Wonderful Tonight have anything other than I'm like, no. Wait a minute.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest guitar players. And
Clapton has got. There is a difference here, and you have to realize that and we all are guilty, guitarists. Sometimes we want to bury ourselves in an instrument and just play out. I don't think it's true. I think the guitar needs to be a voice like the voice that have a meaning, that brings out a beautiful sound or a tough sound, the way you feel. State what you feel. Come on out. Live, you can do it more, but on an album, let's be honest about it. Is your common listener want to hear all that guitar garbage? No disrespect, I'm a guitarist.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, yeah.
I think it's overdoing it.
Yeah, if you're appealing to, I get what you're saying. The average listener, that's going to,
Look, the average, I think most of the people that's going to listen to it are going to be probably musicians, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, then let's be honest about it. Will those musicians, most of them, Willie Kent used to tell me that, and I used to laugh. I didn't realize it because you're trying to be the best, to be like among the peers, to talk about you. Let's be honest about it. Most of those peers are going to call you to be on a guest list and want to ask you, get your album for free.
Yeah.
But we all want to make a living trying to do what we love. So you can play. Look, Charlie Parker's songs are 2 minutes and 15 seconds long, and he outplayed all of those people.
Yeah.
You can make a statement with 8 bars if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be 8 minutes? It doesn't. I'm not saying that sometimes you have a vision that is 8 minutes that you shouldn't execute it. But I'm saying there's a time and a place. And I think the deepest way of playing and of being a great musician or a great instrumentalist or a great vocalist is to realize this balance. That there's a time and a place for everything, and not everything needs to be overdone. A beautiful melody. Nat King Cole is another huge influence on me. Oh. He will sing you a song of,
but voice that guy
40
had,
seconds.
Man.
Lay the melody, no crazy embellishments to trying to prove anything. You know why? Because he wasn't needed.
You ever listen to his guitar player? I forgot his name. Moore. His last name is Moore, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ray Charles was a big student of Nat Cole. He loved him too. He learned a lot from him too. These are like the top, the guys that made up the genre. You know what I'm saying?
There's if you haven't seen a great documentary about Nat on Netflix, man. It was really interesting. Yeah, it was very good. Man, your voice, you should, as I'm sitting here listening to you, you should make those tapes for people to, it's subliminal messages, because your voice is at least for me, I'm like, man, this guy, and I'm like a strong auditory. I communicate primarily, by what I'm hearing, and that's how I filter out bullshit, not bullshit, more so than my other senses visually, let's say, So I'm listen, God, this guy's thinking he should be making I once listened to these tapes years ago. It was self-development stuff. I think this one was forgiving yourself or something. And I'm thinking, man, you should be doing that. I'd be falling asleep with that thing.
Look, I actually was talking. We wrote a lot of songs. I'm beating your question to the punch. I'm sorry about that.
No, good, man. Do your thing.
Wrote a lot of songs for a release, Not for a release. I just wrote a lot of songs in LA with David Ritz, the gentleman who I write with a lot, and some of myself. And we were actually talking about it with another producer from LA. He heard me speak. It was like, you did not take advantage of it. Speaking voice, and we have to. This is something. So I think on future stuff that's coming up, I'm really kind of, again, I look at the music right now more.
Yeah,
I love to play, and we are talking guitar. Ever since last year, I actually started playing a Gibson guitar, which is a huge change for me. And I will probably play more, but it's funny. I had a post about it. Finally, 3 days ago, I told my wife, I said, I want to do that ask me a question thing on Instagram. I can't, but it's not my character, but I want to see.
AMA, ask me anything.
Million people ask. I'm like, and she was like, really? I'm like, I thought it'd be I didn't realize. And they asked. And they asked me about playing the guitar, and I said, you should have a huge vocabulary so you can pick exactly what you feel in the moment and be able to listen more, practice more, listen more, get it, know the humor behind it, the drama behind it, the tragedy behind the notes and music that you hear. So you can deliver exactly what your heart and your mind tells you at the moment.
Totally.
So you can play more. And then I wrote in parentheses, I said, by more, I do not mean more guitar, more notes. I mean the notes that you really want to get out, not that your fingers go because that's what you know. And I was I was proud of saying that.
Good for you, man.
That's exactly how I feel. This is how, I think this is the greatest achievement for a musician, for somebody you speak to choose the words that exactly describe what you are trying to relate.
And
right?
that's not easy. I think it for me, not that I'm great at speaking, but it's taken a long time for me to get okay enough with myself that I'm comfortable doing that.
I think so. And I think if we listen back to the tapes, I'll even tell you, I said, you could take all this 8 minutes I talked, sorry, I was blabbering, use that last 30 seconds.
No, it's totally cool, man.
You know? So, but hey, that's part of the process. And even for an instrument, it's more difficult because it's not, like I said, it's not as natural as the voice. But you're trying the goal is to make it a part of you.
The vocabulary is the important thing, is what you said.
You have to. I mean, it's like talking, like writing. You have to know the letters, the simplicity. Then you have to know to put the word together. Then you need to put a sentence together. And then you can't just speak monotonely because you can't.
No.
The rhythm thing. And then there was another question somebody asked me. Some things can be taught. Sadly, some things I believe in it. You either have them or you don't. I'm not saying you can't become very good, but you will not. There are certain natural things that you're born with. On the other hand, if you do not nourish this natural thing, it's not worth anything. And others will pass you with less skills because they want it more and because they're willing to work for it.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the truth. So if you have a certain talent, you have to, if you want to do something with it, you're going to have to really nourish it the best way that you can to really get it somewhere. Because if everybody's talented at something, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. Nobody's the only one.
No, for sure. You mentioned a minute ago about switching to a Gibson 335. I want to just ask you a couple of questions about the tracks and about your playing. Before that, you were playing a Telecaster almost exclusively. Did you play Tele on all the tracks? Because there was one track, if the washing don't get you, man, it sounded like a Strat on there. But I was curious, was it a Tele on everything or?
Well, you really wanted to ask me that I'm not playing Tele on the album at all, right? It doesn't sound to you like I'm playing Telecaster on the album.
Well,
right?
I know you are because I had the it doesn't sound, no, you don't sound like you're playing Tele, but I know you are. So that's my question. But on that one,
I'll tell you that the producer of the album played it to friends, guitarists, and they were like, wow, he has a Telecaster, but what was he playing on the album? Archtop on the ballad, and I got a right to sing the blues. And he was like, okay, what else? And I sent it to a luthier too. And he was like, okay, a 335 here, an L5 here. He mentioned a bunch of Gibson guitar. And I started laughing. He was like, shucks. I said, what? He said, you played one guitar on the whole thing, didn't you? And I just made a fool of myself. I said, I played the same guitar.
You played Tele on everything.
With a 60-foot cable plug into my Fender Quad Reverb. And this was the setup.
Wow. Well, I mean, you don't play with a pick.
No, the solos I anchor my right hand and I play with my thumb. The leads I do not own a pick.
Unreal, man. You're a lesson in, that's a really great lesson in, a lot of people, when they first get turned on to me, they say, man, this isn't a regular guitar interview. Because most people, they ask, what's string gauge and do you have Celestians and, what are your amp settings? And I'm like, I know that's not that's completely fucking unimportant, because what would I do with that information anyway? Am I going to sound like you? No. Am I going to play? Is anybody else? No. And this is a perfect example why, man. It's everything is in your fingers.
There is one thing about it. You need to have good equipment for you to execute the vision.
Yeah.
So will I sound the same on a $100 guitar? Yes. But after 2 songs, it will get challenging for me to enjoy my own playing.
Yeah, for sure,
so
man.
That's the point. In each one, like if I'm comfortable with the Telecaster, Joe here may be a motherfucker or a great player on a Les Paul. It doesn't mean that the fact that I play a Telecaster and I'm great at it, Joe needs to play one. No.
Yeah.
Joe needs to play the guitar that makes him inspired. Which, yes, on truth, I was playing my 1975 Fender Telecaster. Only through my 1974, I think, Fender Quad Reverb with stock speakers and everything. To the people that want to know, I preferred my Telecaster stock the way it came, but because I was touring and I had some buzzing issues as come with a single coil pickup, I found an old set of Joe Barton, the old ones that he actually used to make, pickup for Telecasters. And that's what I recorded with. They sound good and there's no noise. So that's actually what's in the guitar. Again, did I sound different with the original pickups? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Really, I play with my thumb, so I really have more.
You always played like that?
No, I started playing again with the nylon string guitar in Israel. That's what my brother had at home. And a 12-string acoustic that only had 6 on it, a big one. And so I played with my fingers because I didn't have a pick. And a friend showed me 3 chords. But then he showed me to play with the pick. He said, yeah, that's a pick. And he gave me a pick, so I played with the pick. Even when I joined Willie Kent's band, I was playing with the pick.
Oh, wow.
Very shortly after, I did not like it, the feel, and I started chewing on the pick while playing like this. And then after a while, I just didn't bring the pick one night. And Willie asked me that night, he said, what happened tonight? I said, what you mean? He said, what did you do? I said, was it bad? I said, no, you sounded different. You sounded great. I said, I did 2 things. One, I got this quad reverb amp that was more of what I wanted to hear for myself. Second, I didn't bring a pick. I played with my finger, my thumb. Like, don't bring the pick anymore.
Wow.
He told me, because I was kind of rough on myself. I used to sound too much like Albert King or B.B. King. And people would start, man, he's playing like Albert. You have to go see him. And I started being tired of myself. I play like Albert King, B.B. King, some Albert Collins. I didn't feel like I was executing really and I told him that. And he would talk to me after shows. I was really hard on myself. I was young in my 20s. I was like, guy, relax. I said, I don't. He said, first of all, you sound great. Willie Kent used to tell me. People would kill to do the things that you do, but like Albert. He said, but second, I hear more of you every night.
Great.
Every night I hear something. He said, so just keep living. He said, just keep doing what you're doing. It will come. And that day to him, he said, that's what came. And he was right. I lost some speed. It took me, look, when you put the pick down at first, you're not going to be able to play as fast. So I was like, oh, man. But I think the notes that I did play were unarguably Guy King. It was me.
You know what? I love playing without a pick, but I'm so limited.
Well, but if you practice, if you only play like this, watch in 2 months how less limited you'll be.
But right or wrong? Yes, in theory.
It's not theory. It's everything.
But how do you play an upstroke? Like, how do you play I mean, I'm not a fast guitarist as it is. When I play with a pick, how do you play an upstroke?
There's a way to cheat around it. I actually can play an upstroke if I'm really trying to go. I don't think I play fast all the time. You heard the album, but I will go for a fast run when I hear one.
Yeah.
Play it. How? First of all, there's a lot of things you could do with the left hand technique to pick one time and slur, which is more like actually how you speak. It's a rhythmic thing, You really have to. People need to forget about the guitar and understand that you are a person. So the guitar needs to be an extension of you. You should not be an extension of the guitar. It's not going to work. It's, after all, a piece of wood with 6 strings. Sorry.
But even but let me ask you, even forget about playing fast, playing scales. Like, how do you go up and down even to just alternative picking? You can't do that, can you?
Just go down.
Okay.
The up will come. There are things that you can do. Just go down.
I
do. First of all, there are players I know who play 5 fingers, like classical guitarists. They will outplay speed.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys are
so you can go.
Badasses,
why don't we all do that? There's no reasons, because we get stuck in with the blinds like this. Oh, we can't. He did it, so I have to do this. Do you know a guy named Kevin Eubanks? You ever heard of Kevin Eubanks? From the Tonight Show.
Have you ever seen him play? Like, not with the Tonight Show? Oh my God. I was watching some videos of him yesterday. He plays without a pick. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I don't know how, like, I don't know what's going on there, man. It's
because you figure out what works for you. That's the best thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I have to do that. Cause I feel so much more connected to the instrument when I'm not playing with a pick. You
know why I stopped using pick too? I felt like I was like, I don't have nothing against pedals. I don't have nothing against nothing. It won't move me as much as to see somebody going straight and really get the message across. But I have nothing against it. I always thought, like, what if the power stops today? I mean, Ray Charles would have sounded great on a piano in his voice. He did not need all those things.
Yeah.
The upright player would still be swinging and laying it down funky, and the drummer would. But guess what? The guitar player can press on his little tube screamer or something to cut through. I'm like, but Albert King did not have that pedal. The Albert King that I really loved, the young one. Neither did BB. Wes Montgomery didn't. I'm like, they got the message across great. Why can't it be done? It should be done. That was my thing. Yeah. Do I like a wah-wah sometimes? It is funky. Yeah. Do I like chorus? I don't use it, but I'm not saying I won't in the future for a certain production. But it's not necessary. You're actually going to be a lot more moving and natural without it. I personally practice without an amplifier.
Let me. Can I see your hands, your fingernails?
I don't have fingers. I cut them short.
Okay.
I play with the flash.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I need to do that because I really, 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 really like the. I feel so much better with the instrument when I don't have a pick. They really like. It's like. This is like very exaggerated, but it's like holding my wife with gloves. It's just like I'm not getting the full connection.
I heard it from players too. First of all, let me make it clear. Just like the same with the effect, a lot of those wonderful players out there, including the great B.B. King, that had touched probably the best or as good as anybody, played with the pick. So I'm not saying it's not doable.
No, yeah, you're not coming across with that. Yeah.
But a lot of players tell me, I had some players that asked me on recent tours, man, I like to do it, but I'm afraid I don't have the same power. You don't. If I pick loud with my thumb all the time, it will lose the feeling. With the pick, you have more volume. Just
100%, yeah.
But now I have an amp. So I don't have to play a 41 amp. Watch me with a 100-watt tube amp. And now I got the extra headroom, and I can whisper my guitar when I want to with thumb and get the same power. Which between us, you asked me about the guitar. And yes, I moved to a Gibson guitar. I performed for Buddy Guy in September 2016, I believe. He received the Lifetime Achievement, what's called the 5th Star Award from the city of Chicago for the arts in a big outdoor theater in Millennium Park. And I played a large show with my big band, as you asked, my 12-piece band with the background vocalist. And for him, I guess he told a mutual photographer that he really loves what I do. So they asked me to perform for him. He was there when he received the awards. I and my musicians were very honored.
Dude, that's so cool.
And at the end of the night, I ran through 2 twin, backline, not mine, 2 of them. And I wasn't happy. And I told my wife, I said, Sarah, I'm done playing a Fender Telecaster. Right after the show, she was like, what? I love it. You make it sound so special. Nobody ever sound with a Telecaster like this. I like, I know. I'm forcing it to do things that I hear something else. And that night started the searches. I went to Norman's Rare Guitar. If you see the first video I made for him, I went out to California to perform and to write. And I walked into the store the first time and I picked up a Les Paul. because I figured it's close enough in shape to a Telecaster, but
That's
it
funny.
is.
How,
Really,
it's just funny how we think. Like we want to do something different, but let's do the least something. Let's do
I was comfortable with the shape. I like the square headstock, and I wanted a humbucking pickup.
Sure,
I don't want to bust.
it.
I want something wider. You need to understand. I play with the horn section. I don't want to just cut like this. I want the voice to be more like my speaking voice, to have more weight to it. Again, I don't want to put a pedal rack in front of me to get that. I want it to be natural with my instrument and my amp. Anything else could be an addition. So if you see the first video I made for Noam, I picked up a Les Paul. I played 2 notes. He comes to me. He said, "Who are you?" 2 notes. I said, "I'm Guy King from Chicago." He said, "Man, you sound great." I'm like, "Thank you." It was 1 note on the 2 notes maybe. "Can you do a video for me?" And I gave him the album, and he was a big fan of Truth. And we became close. I think he's great. The story is great. Jen and Mark Agnesi, they're wonderful people. The stuff they do for guitarists, for music, I think it's great. And I had the chance to play some instruments there. And I'm like, okay. And I was looking into buying a Les Paul. I snoozed on that particular Les Paul, called him like 3 weeks later from Chicago. I was like, "Sorry, man, it's sold." Because we did the video. I guess somebody bought the guitar. I'm like, "Man." And I'm picky. And I went 10 months until I found I was going to buy a Les Paul. I was at the Chicago Music Exchange here in Chicago, and I'm check it out.
Is that place gigantic?
It's wonderful. It's like a gallery. It's
I'd love to go there one time, man.
And I pick up a 335. Again, I wanted a Sunburst. And I pick it up, and it sounded way better than the Les Paul to me. And Joe Bonamassa, and I went to see him, and he told me, "Man, to me, a 335 is a Les Paul killer." We talked in Norm's store. I'm like, "What you mean?" He said, "People snooze on it. It could do so many things." I'm like, "But you play a Les Paul?" He said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "But I'm telling you, a 335. And it stuck with me. And I never thought a 335 could be as hitting. I won't be able to dig in as deep.
Freddie King.
I was wrong. It's not just Freddie. It does. When I get into an Albert King bag, it does just that if you wanted to. Again, it's what you can do with that. And it had that. And I said at the Music Exchange, and all of a sudden from that wall, there's a natural 335 that's calling me. I hear it saying, God. And I get it. And I'm like, "Man, but I wanted a Sunburst." But this was the one for me. And I got it. And I refitted it. And I've been playing it ever since. And my little baby daughter loves it every time I take it out of the case. And she likes it more than the Telecaster. And that will be good enough reason for me to play a 335.
What year is that?
It's a 1983. It's an early 80s 335. It's natural. Stock pickups.
What are those? Burst Buckers?
No, those I think what people are calling the Tim Shaws.
Okay. Oh, you know what, man? A bunch of people have told me those are some of the best 335s they ever put out with the Tim Shaws.
Let me tell you something, my friend. I love the guitar. I A-beat it to a 1960, a 1951, and a 1961, which were wonderful instruments. And if you ask me which one I would pick to play, I would take mine.
And it's Sunburst.
It's a natural.
Oh, it's a natural. Wow. Okay.
It's a natural. But I just got back from I did an April European tour, and all of a sudden a little bird told me that the Music Exchange have a Sunburst one. 83.
So you went to go get that one?
From the same, I didn't. It's already I already have that. I had to get it.
Oh, you got it. Good for you, man. That's nice. So now you got 2 of them with the Tim Shaws.
I had a thing. The front pickup was something with Gibson. They put a tar back in the front. Originally, it wasn't changed. I thought somebody swapped it. It was an earlier pickup that Gibson put that I wasn't. It actually sounds good, but it didn't match the back. And I wanted this guitar to sound close to my other one.
Sure.
Because when I find something I like, something I don't want something to go wrong, and then I want to have the same tool.
Yeah, of course.
So the only thing I always wanted a Sunburst, and it's a Sunburst. So it took me 5 months of looking, and I just found a late 82 set of the same pickup. So I'm installing it now and fretting it. Yeah. Some people don't like them. I have to tell you, I don't. Some people, "Oh yeah, this is great. This is great. These are the holy grail." Don't believe that, man.
No, it's whatever you
works
feel.
For me,
man.
It's not going to work for you. And what works for you, great, will not work for me. I'm a big believer in using the stock. I don't like to change stuff. Great. I'm not
the same.
So if I like it the way it came, and my take is like, "Guy, with you, if you like it, do not touch it. I know how picky you are. Leave it." That's what I did. I just try to get it great playability, The pickups were good to me. I played new guitars that sounded as good, but not as comfortable for me. I played a 1960 not long ago. That was great. Norm had me do a video with his personal natural 1960 natural. That's very rare because it had a sting in the back like an L5. Sounded great. Will I tell you that all of 1959 guitars that's worth that much money sound great? No. They don't. Do they all feel great? No. You can take a $2,000 guitar. It's a lot of money. So some people are like, man, it's $3,000 a lot of money. Yeah, but if you're comparing it to $18,000,
yeah,
a lot of money.
Is the neck thick or is it thin on your 83?
I thought I used to like thin necks. This one was at first, the first few days, I almost took it back. I thought it was a little too, it's not thick like what they have now for 59s.
Okay.
It's really round. It has more of a flat profile.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not like what they sell for a 60. It's not that thin. It has more chunk in the back. But it's not chunk. It's weird. It's a great fit.
It works for you, though.
But it's a great fit. And the sunburst I just got from the same year is really similar. It's really consistent.
That's very cool, man.
Which I love. So it's actually with my tech now about to get a treatment of new frets because they still have the original frets. And I'm going to put new frets on it and put the stock pickups back in and make it another working instrument for myself.
Where'd you find the stock pickups? On Reverb or?
I think Craigslist.
Really? Wow, that's a find. Hey, I want to talk about a couple of the
personals. Maybe now it was a personal transaction. Somebody I was looking for a while.
Yeah.
They had them on Reverb. I lost twice. I said, and I'm like, maybe it's this one. Maybe it's sorry, I sold them. Okay. But since then, I was offered, the company came and offered me pickups too. So maybe for a future, I could try those. Those seem pretty, that they will do the PAF trick, which this is all I want. A natural, people talk about PAF. Again, some of them are not good sounding. Some are. You want from a humbucker one that will not be muddy. They will keep the single coil qualities of a nice air, nice high end. You want it to be natural, and you want it to be a humble, to cancel the hum.
Yeah.
This is it. This is really all I want from a pickup,
Let's talk about a couple of tracks off of your last album, Truth. Two songs I really liked. I mean, I liked a lot of them, but the two songs I wanted to chat with about. The first one is called A Day in a Life with the Blues. Mm-hmm. So that song started off with a great guitar line, and it was one of those slow blues songs that, like, if you play guitar, man, you are going to pick up your car. I mean, that's what I did. I picked up my guitar right away. I started jamming with this song. It's a big band style slow swing blues. I thought the structure of the song was like kind of very B.B. King oriented with his big band. Mm-hmm. And then midway through the song, you take a really nice long solo, great solo there, and you got your horn section backing you up, man, which sounded tight. And then you got a female singer doing exactly what you said you and Willie used to do. You're kind of doing call and response with her, with your guitar and her voice, which I thought was really, really cool. And I just was curious, is there any backstory to that song or anything about
it? That's A Day in the Life on the Blues or My Happiness?
No, A Day in a Life with the Blues.
Yeah, well, the female singer is my wife.
You're kidding me.
No.
That's pretty cool, man.
It was really a great,
is that how you guys met? You met while you were playing music?
I came from Brazil and heard somebody told me, you should listen to her. She's great. You will really dig what she does. And it was a small jazz club that I used to play with my trio too. And I'm like, I was visiting and I came and I thought, wow, she could really sing. Like, well, and we talked and he was really nice, like surprisingly nice. And I'm like, wait a minute. But then she was shy and she didn't know. And I just left town for another year of traveling.
Where was this? Where'd you meet her in?
Here in Chicago.
Oh, here in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. In the suburbs, actually, where we live right now. And then I came back a year later, and I came to a club to see like a friend guitarist, and she was singing with the group. She a featured vocalist. She was like, "I'm so sorry for," and we're like, "It's been a year." I told her I just got back to town again, and we talked, and we had coffee, and we had a juice, and we went, and everything happened very naturally. And on Truth, on the album, I wrote a song called My Happiness, and I asked her if she would sing, and it's pretty much about her, the song. It was a little bit after we met. I
That's
went out
cool,
to
man.
a series of shows, and on a day in my life, it's more I used her as a to make like a joke. It's a blues, but it's a joke that tells a funny story if you listen to the lyrics. So I used her to kind of like be sassy and say something sassy to me.
Oh, okay.
And I'm responding to that. So she's kind of having some sassy remarks on the song. And yeah, I mean, you could definitely hear the B.B. King influences on me, and Ray Charles influences in the groove too. The way I orchestrate my horn section and the voicings, maybe I'll give Ray more credit than Percy Mayfield as
Very
far
cool,
as influences in the writing here.
And then you have another song called King Thing. And it was like a medium tempo blues swing instrumental. And you pretty much walk through the melody, and in between each verse, you have some, very cool soloing. And I like that song because you're using a lot of particular sounds, techniques to get specific sounds. Like, for example, you use a lot of raking in there, which, how the hell do you rake without a pick?
Secret. You have to come see me live. No, there's two ways to do it. One, I'm not a big fan of the downstroke of a rake because you're going to hear the nail. I'm sensitive to it. I like the flesh as far as tonality. I do a quick one with my index finger.
Coming up, so you rake up.
I can play arpeggio. When I play Delta, like country blues, I play with all fingers.
Do you need fingernails to rake up, though?
I don't like it. No, flesh.
Okay, so you're raking up. You're not raking down. Okay. Well, if I'm going to play without a pick, man, I need to get some inside secrets.
You could do that. Rake. I think rake, you mean like muting some strings.
Yeah, right. Where you're muting some of the strings and yeah.
On the way up, you could do this with any one of the four strings.
Okay.
Fingers, and down, you could still do that. Down, you could do anything with it down.
Okay. And then you're also doing like popping. You were like popping a lot of, like boing, you did a lot of, well, it wasn't really, it was just like you were popping some strings, for just the effect. It sounded really cool, and there's a very funky, like a funk oriented groove and style. And see here, my question, you don't use a pick, correct? And solo, a little bit like Albert King in that solo, it sounded great, man. And again, I'm not saying, I hope I'm meaning complimentary. I hate when they tell you somebody they sound like.
Look, you were dead on this. The King thing is, first, I'm glad that you mentioned in songs that I actually wrote and arranged myself, because on Truth, I paid tribute and did some covers too, mostly. So I'm glad that you actually mentioning and picking songs that I wrote.
Oh, cool.
Co-wrote Day in Life with the Blues with David Ritz as like let's get into a blues, but write a funny story. That's how it came about. King thing, Guy King, but I am not in Albert King.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm not in the Stax crew, his Stax band with the sound you could hear. I wanted a certain shuffle to be the backbeat, which is more like I call it a straight shuffle, which is kind of what Al Jackson was more known for. And I'm doing stuff there that Albert would never do, because I expanded the harmony and I'm playing over some chords, but definitely the solo one I'm playing, Albert King will always ring, even when I'll play a classical piece. In the back of my mind, there are people that will always be there. You understand?
Sure.
And Albert is one of them. Again, Montgomery will be one, and Aragon will be one, and João Gilberto from Brazil will be one. And classical pieces I heard as a kid in the orchestra will be there too. But Albert was a big influence on me in my early teens. I still enjoy his sheer strength and his integrity in his playing.
Tremendous.
And I think he was wonderful. And you were dead on. B.B. King is for A Day in the Life of the Blues, and Albert King for a King thing. It's certain tone qualities. When I hear a certain chord, a certain voicing, my mind goes somewhere. And then certain notes come. The popping. I think on the King thing, you could see another influence on me, which was Albert Collins. With the
yes,
popping.
For sure. Yes.
The end of the vamp, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of play with the index sometimes, too, to kind of give him and Gatemouth Brown, Clarence Gatemouth Brown, my tribute, because I used to listen to both of them, too.
Good stuff, man. I love the album. Really, really happy with it. Thank you for making it.
Thank you.
Hey, man, name a couple of players, guitar players that you've really enjoyed playing with, and maybe one or two that you'd like to jam with.
Ooh, that I enjoyed playing with.
Yeah.
Guitar players. Wow, I don't do that often now that I think about that. I don't usually jam with guitar players. I would go for another instrument out of interest of something different.
Yeah. Just pick two people that you've enjoyed jamming with. Doesn't matter.
I remember, and it was really nice. I was in LA playing, and I wasn't my show. I popped into a joint, and Kirk Fletcher popped into the same joint.
Yeah, I know Kirk.
And we go back to before we knew each other. We were playing as I was in my early 20s. He was a couple of years above me, and he was with Charlie Musselwhite. I was with Willie Kent, and we both kind of looked at each other, kind of impressed of what the other one was doing. So we met again, and we just jumped on stage. I think it's on YouTube too, actually.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, he's a good player. I interviewed Kurt a while back.
Yeah, and he's a sweetheart too. I think that comes to mind.
He lives in Switzerland.
Yes, he does now. Yeah. So we had a good time. I had the pleasure. That was in Norms, actually, that I met Joe Bonamassa, and we both actually did a quick jam. That was nice. I enjoyed that.
That's cool.
Last time in LA, Artur Menezes jumped on stage. He was at the club checking out the music, and I invited him out to play a tune. That was fun. I'm trying to think. There was one more I wanted to tell you. Of course, when Buddy Guy jumped on stage with me, but he usually would not play. He will sing with me and let me do the playing.
Okay.
So
that's pretty respectful of him, isn't it?
Yeah. He actually played one time when I was with Willie Kent. I'm trying to think. He played. It's not true, because on his January residency, he would play at his own club. I was at the club, and he actually asked me to come and handed me his tech handed me one polka dot Strat, and I'm not known for playing a Strat.
That's cool.
Because I played my thumb, and then we played a little bit together. It was like this last January.
Hey, I want to tell you, when you told me you said something to me, you said, hey, just try it for 2 months. You'll be better. So I'm going to not use a pick I like it better. I'm going to just give it a shot.
But you have to be honest with yourself. It's going to take time. If you really like it better, there's nothing,
I like it much better.
Then you're going to get it. Just be patient with yourself and allow yourself the time that it will take to master it.
Yeah, I will. That was a big impact, the way you said that. It's like, yeah, he's right.
Now, you asked me, but see, I'm like, I know I'm going to forget something. So I'm thinking there was some other opportunity, some other people I wanted to let you know. I do not play with guitarists a lot. I really don't. So it doesn't happen. One time I was actually here, not too far at Space, and it was a show of Nick Moss, and he asked me to come and play with it was Greg Koch and Josh Smith.
Oh, yeah. I've had all those guys.
He to come up. So there was the three of us. This was documented too. It was on YouTube. So this was a nice night. Some good players from Chicago. We didn't do it live too much, but Bobby Broom, a great guitarist, known for being a jazz player. Originally from New York City, but he's been residing here since before I was. Andy Brown, Henry Johnson. We don't get a chance to really play together, but those are good guys, heavy guys, and very deep into the craft. People I would like to. Well, I told you yesterday when we talked that that Eric Clapton is the reason I grabbed guitar.
Yeah.
So some things always stick with you, even though you may have advanced yourself and did certain things. The stuff that you came up with kind of have a special place in your heart. So I would really be
Clapton.
Extremely. I would experience extreme pleasure if I had a chance to meet up and play with Eric Clapton, of course.
Eric, if you're listening, I don't know if he listens to this show. I'd be stranger things have happened, but there you go, Eric. Get Guy King next time you come to Chicago.
Man, if I always wanted to, even I don't know, even in England at the Royal Albert Hall, I remember seeing footage of him when I was a very young teenager playing, and I was used to, again in my '68 family little village. Maybe one day, So
well, hopefully, man.
It will always stay.
Very cool. Desert Island Discs. Top 3. A tough question, man. And just go with your knee-jerk reaction. No
My
particular
initial
order.
stuff would tell you Ray Charles, Wes Montgomery, and João Gilberto.
He's
Wow.
Brazilian, right?
No, see, I didn't give you Albert King, didn't give you B.B. King, but you gave me the first 3. That's what came to mind. Yeah, João Gilberto is pretty much the initiator of Bossa Nova. He had a very... And I didn't name the name of the CDs because, you know, those people that we're talking about, even if I would have kept down the list and asked you BB or Albert, they are deeper than this. Give me your favorite disc. It's not going to happen. You know?
I totally get that, man.
If you pick 1 out of the 10 that I give you, I will happily get that and roll with that to the island. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you, man.
So,
this is a tough question. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
just one?
You're a tough critic, self-critic.
About me. No, but by my answer, I'll be a little softer in my self-criticism, but actually I don't think so. It doesn't bother me. It may bother some people around me. I think it's a necessity to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, man.
About me, you mean character or the fact that I would like to sit with a couple of $1 million behind me to take care of my family?
No, about your character. It's a tough question, man. Very tough.
It is. I'm good at, you asked me yesterday about, when we talked, you asked me about how difficult it is to run the engine. All the people, all the music that I play, the different style or the different configurations.
Yeah, that's
band. I'm obviously not bad at the business end.
That's great.
But when the business means the financial phase, I'm good at that too. I don't know what to tell you. I wish thing about me.
And man, if there's nothing, that's an okay answer. You know?
No, they are. The thing I told my first answer was just one. That's maybe taking me one to narrow it down to one that I would like to change about myself most. Maybe let's say pay attention more to enjoy my wife and daughter and give them the time and be better. There it is. Be better at the balances. I'm very intense. I'm very extreme. Be better at finding a balance and being content with that balance.
I've struggled with that my whole career, man.
This is the one. It took me a minute, but by saying this, I'm saying because then I will be able to enjoy all of the things and not think I'm missing something by choosing one and finding the balance and be happy with that balance.
Yeah, very tough. It's tough when you have a strong work ethic or you're just intense. It's very tough.
But even then, I have a strong work ethic. I'm working on an album. Even then, there will be compromises and balances. Do I keep on for the greater good of the balance, or do I niche to the little thing of every second of the one tune? You cannot accomplish both. No, good is good enough. You cannot, but to be able to reach the balance that you are happy with is the one thing that I would change, and not change, just be a lot better than I am.
Yeah, I hear you totally. Man, this is a fun question. What's your favorite Israeli food that you miss eating?
Falafel, period.
How about the flip side? What's your favorite food here in the States that's not available in Israel? Did I ask you that? I feel like I asked you. No, I didn't.
No, you did not. Well, the favorite foods for me here are available in Israel. I could give you some stuff that maybe doesn't, but it's not, I could go without.
Okay. What's your favorite food here in the States?
A few things, but I really enjoy a good, and it's funny because I hope to not eat meat one day. But so I do not eat it a lot, but when I do, I enjoy it very, very much. So
good steak?
Love it.
Yeah.
But I could get that in Brazil or Argentina as good or better. So I'm not going to, And even in Israel, you can get a good one, even though they're great ones in the States. I love a good hamburger.
Do you really? That's cool.
I really enjoy it. I know it's simple, but I enjoy something like this,
That's good,
but
man.
you can get a really good one in Israel because there's a fusion there, and influenced a lot by the food and the culture here, certain areas, so you can actually get a very good hamburger.
Very cool.
Hamburger and I like good fries too.
Good fries. Yeah, you got to have good. If you're eating hamburger fries, you're looking like that. You got great metabolism, man. Let me tell you.
Look, but I have to tell you, I would eat salads like it's not like by salads. I mean Israeli salads, like chopped tomatoes. I would chop cucumbers and parsley with lemon and olive oil. This is what
that's good stuff, man. Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? So
that's really good.
I allow myself to get down with a good, hamburger and enjoy it too. Because even when I'm on the road in Europe, especially, every meal they're like, "Man, get guy a salad." Yeah, but we prepared this. He would not eat unless you get him a huge green salad with nothing, just olive oil or something.
Yeah. A most important thing that your dad and your mom taught you.
Wow. Bye, Racheli. Mwah. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man.
The most important my mother and father taught me.
Yeah.
Everything. Correct. They were the best people I ever met. Everything. How to be real, how to be a good person, how to be a caring person, how to treat people with respect, and they taught me everything. Everything I am is something that I owe to my parents.
Man, that's really cool. That's really nice to hear. And man, last question. Biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of this change has been intentional and how much is just a natural part of aging?
I think I'm getting closer with that balance thing that I told you about, finding the balance.
That's great, man.
Being content with it. And I think that this one, and letting go. Okay.
Letting go of just not
of a dream of I have or something, because I kind of actually, it showed me that, but letting go of trying to grab something that's not for you and letting that something come your way more. Again, you strive and you do it and you do it and you do it. But don't expect the outside world to give it to you because you do it. You will get, the world is it consists of a lot of things that's not for us to understand. It's not, at least it's not for me.
I agree with you 100%.
So get it, want it. But I think when I let go and still wanted it, let's say of certain, it's not going to be that those people that you want it from. You want it so much, it's like, oh, no. It's bigger. The picture is bigger, and we can't see like we want to. So I think when I realized that I have to let go, it's just wrong. And I did, and things started falling more to place. And he gave me more. Again, I did not give up on the things that I wanted. That's not what I'm saying. I was able to let go in order.
Yeah, let it happen organically instead of killing yourself to knock it down. Yeah, I get that. It's a lot less stressful, man.
It's truer too, and
Do you know this? I have this poster. You know who Charles Bukowski is? I have this poster. I don't know if you can see it.
No,
he's an author. I think he's originally from Germany. Lived in California. He had this thing, and he said something. Don't try. He said whether you're trying to, even if you're trying to kill a spider, don't chase it down. Let it come to you. And he was saying the same thing. Like don't try. Let things evolve.
But you take it the wrong. See, you could say, okay, so I'm going to sit here here.
Yeah, no, he didn't mean.
That's the trick. You know, no, strive. Like try without trying, but to not try to let it come, you have to prepare behind the scenes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course, man.
So if it's musically, or if it's finding the love, or if it's creating a family, things came to me. The music came to me very naturally, very young. When I saw the industry side, I got discouraged by certain things, and I lost some of the love that I had for it. Then when it still sometimes knock you on the shoulder. Every true musician will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Every working musician. But if you really love the music, why don't you concentrate on that?
Yeah.
Make the living from it, but concentrate on that. Keep that here. Don't let that go, and everything will kind of, sort itself out. So in the music content is more that, and personal content, it's a lot of things. Again, a relationship, family relationship, finding the love that you think or want to dream of and think you deserve, creating a family, something that I was born, told you how much my parents meant to me, God rest their soul, and my brothers and sisters too. So having this type of thing. And
are they still, you have brothers and sisters back in Israel? Or are they in the States here?
I'm the baby boy. I'm the youngest one.
Oh, that's cool. And did they come here, get a chance, or do you go back there? Or?
They did, because especially after my daughter was born.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Yes. Of course.
But when I go to Europe to perform, actually my sister lives in France and my brothers live in Israel. So
that's great.
There. And I even had my wife and daughter come to join me in a tour because I have my sister there. So it worked out great.
That's fantastic.
It was a long tour, and I was able to break it and be with my wife and daughter instead of being out on my own for so long,
That's wonderful, man. That's great. Dude, I can't thank you enough for everything. Let me tell people where to find you. Please, everybody, check out Guy King. He's just a really smart, really talented player, band leader, writer, and he's got an excellent voice. His website is guyking.net. Check out his new album. It's called Truth. It's a great record. You can get that on his website and anywhere else records are sold. Also, he's got a really cool, he's pretty good on social media. I shouldn't say pretty good. You're good on social media. No, you are. It's good. And you can find him on Instagram at Guy King Music, and also on Facebook at Guy King Music, and his YouTube channel. Is that the same thing, Guy King Music?
Either Guy King Music or Guy King 1, but you should be able to get all those links to on my website.
On your website.
Yeah.
Great.
Got links to everything.
And his website, again, is guyking.net. And also, Guy does take music students on a limited basis. So if you are interested in working with him, and he's got some unique talents as far as band leading and composing and stuff like that, go to his website, and there's a contact form, and just hit him up and talk about what you're looking for and why you think he might be a fit for you. And that's it. You go from there. I miss anything?
No, I think not. I rarely teach. We talked about it, but every now and then when there's a little downtime and I can help with something very particular, then I would do something like that.
And dude, next album you come back on the show, we'll promote it. We'll talk about it.
I would love that. Thank you for having me.
Man,
Greg.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Talking.
Likewise. Thank you for everything, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this interview, share it with a friend on your social media channels. We certainly appreciate your support, and thank you. Thanks again to Guy King for spending all this time with us. I really appreciate it. And make sure you go to the homepage of everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get on our newsletter list. You get advance notice of guests coming on the show and the opportunity to ask them your own questions. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.